Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, Xander certifies himself with his first major championship at Valhalla. The Marlins get some love with an unexpected winning streak, and we break down the Eastern Conference Finals between the Panthers and the Rangers with special guest DJ Monopoly of the New York Rangers. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! This thing on?
Yeah. Mics are hot, baby. Mics are always hot.
Mics are always hot, man. What's going on, brother?
Out here, doggy, you know, just chilling.
I see you, dog. Nice shirt.
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah, that's a nice shirt, boy.
I think it was a post on Instagram. I can't remember what page had it, but it said there's less than 20 weeks until football. Until red zone, technically.
Right. Yeah. Red zone.
Less than that. I think it's like 16 weeks left till the first red zone. So I'm excited for football, even though it's only
never stops. It never stops. I mean, like, look, I got a little excited with the rookie training camp, right? And we talked about them in the last episode, which was fun and exciting to see those guys out there working, right? And there are no holdouts or anything like that. So really good news for the Dolphins, man. An exciting season is upon us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And we're not going to get into all that. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Everything is good, bro. No complaints, you know. Had a very chill weekend, just like I like it, and it allowed me to really enjoy sports on a full spectrum this weekend, dog. There was so many sports going on, like different sporting events going on, that it was wild, man.
And some that we didn't even know were going on. Honestly, for me, I found out. I saw a NASCAR fight. Big Cat posted it.
That was huge,
bro. I was like, "What is going on?" Cal Busch getting into a fight with this other guy in the pit and shit. It got hot. I was like, it was kind of a weak fight, but I was like, I mean,
he landed a good punch.
NASCAR fights are always fun. Some guys got pushed around and shit.
Country shit, dog. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Good old country boys going at it.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, it was a lot of entertaining going on, right? And if you caught some of it, then you got to get at least a real good sports piece of in this weekend, man.
And if you're here now, then that means you didn't, and you're about to get a good recap. So make sure before we get into any of this, like on this video, comment, and most importantly, please subscribe.
And that's what you got to do. You got to tell a friend to subscribe as well, so they get in the know, just like you know.
Here we go.
Let's talk about Xander, dog.
Yeah, we got to get into
PGA Championship this weekend started on Thursday at Valhalla, right? Second major of the year.
Valhalla, Kentucky.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the course later on, right? Because that's how I want to finish this conversation. Sure. But when we were looking into who's a real threat here, right? We mentioned Scotty. We mentioned Colin. We mentioned Rory. We mentioned Bryson. We only gave like a small little mention to Xander. It was like, oh yeah, he's in the field. He's hot, right? He's always in the top 10 and he's always getting close, but no cigar, right? Then Thursday comes out. Everybody's excited, right? You got Tiger playing in the championship. It was very exciting, right? A little bit of weather issues, but it was okay on Thursday. And this dude Xander goes out and shoots a course record 62. Or ties a course record 62.
Came out hot.
Came out blazing. And just putting himself on the leaderboard day one up by that many strokes and saying, yo, this is the type of golf that you guys are going to have to beat in order to catch up. I think it really gave him the confidence to go throughout the weekend, continually to play at a high level and keep everybody else at bay. Because it wasn't until the last day, right, or let's say Saturday, the last 6 holes, right, where Colin came up and really tied it. Sahith Tagala was in the mix this whole weekend, right?
Yeah, Sunday kind of a bad round Sunday.
He kind of drove off, not too far back, but enough for being in contention to out of contention quite quickly, right?
Right. Even Morikawa,
right? He was in that final group and he just fell back, and he didn't even play bad, bogey free. He just parred every single hole.
I think he had a bogey.
No, he had a bird at the end.
He had a birdie at the end. No, yeah. So I think it was even par the whole day. He didn't have a single birdie to the 18th hole.
Yeah. So, but you're playing like mistake-free, quote-unquote, golf, right? And you still drop down to the guy who you were tied with, by 4 strokes. That was a big swing.
That's because the course was playing easy.
We'll get to it. But back to Xander. The fact that he was able to withstand all of that and really put on great shot after great putt, great out after great, green and regulation. Like, this dude was pulling off every single shot that you need to win in order to win a major championship. What I didn't really, I don't want to say respect, but what I didn't like about the tournament in itself were all the high scores for a major championship.
Or low scores.
Or lower scores, excuse me. Right? -20 at a major, -16 at a major. Like, I could understand that if you're at the Wells Fargo or you're playing somewhere else, like you're at the Waste Management. Like, I get it. Valspar, right? I get it. All these places. But for a major championship, I think that it needs to be super hard. And I think the conditions allowed Xander to play mistake-free golf better than everybody else and make up shots better than everybody else, which is why he was able to score as great as he did every single day. You know what I mean? Because it's not like he went out there, shot a 62, and then Friday he was a 71, and then Saturday he went back down to a 64. No, this dude was consistently in the mid to low 60s. Bam, 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 bam. Is that a great performance? Absolutely. And you know what? If there's a way that you want to win your first major championship, right, after being in the top 10 more than anybody else since 2010, you do it dominating. You want to do it dominating the course, dominating the rest of the field, and really playing lights out more than anybody else was, right? Because some people gave him a run. Bryson gave him a run. DeChambeau gave him a run at the end, but not enough because Xander was pretty much in control the whole time. And the course wasn't really playing hard for him, especially that 18th hole, right, where he was still able to get up and down and sink a good birdie putt on the par 5.
I mean, but you said it, though. He hit every shot that he needed. He needed every shot in the bag on Sunday, and he hit every single shot that he had in the bag on Sunday, dog. Like, yeah. he got into trouble early on, and he was able to get out of some, sticky situations, even on 18. You look at 18, everything on the line. Bryson birdied 18 to tie you. So now it's a 2-way tie at the top. PGA Championship Sunday, a lot of pressure on the line. Pulls the drive maybe a little bit left.
A lot left, in my opinion.
Ends up in a weird lie where he's standing in a bunker, hitting this ball that's above his feet.
In the shade.
In a par 5. So you have a ways to go. You have to hit a good shot here. And it's not normal conditions. You are adjusting. You don't practice that shot.
No.
Above your feet, choking down, and you got to fly at 200 yards. Like,
not easy.
Nobody practices that.
And the way that they put the stick or the hole that particular day, you had to go directly over the bunker, right? In order to get it real close to the flag stick, you had to get it over the bunker.
You could also bail out left, and that's what he did.
Right.
And he put it left, and as soon as I saw that, where a lot of guys were putting it, I think I don't know what chat I said it in.
I think it was 23.
One of the chats I was like, he just that's it. He's gonna get up and down to win it.
Yeah,
because he was on fire all day with his short game. His short game was ridiculous,
impeccable.
Dog. He was hitting some shots, bro, that was getting him out of trouble, bro. That was wild.
Impeccable.
And he just had an easy one that we had seen Bryson just get up and down from. Bryson had a longer putt than what Xander ultimately had. And bro, it was raw because of the fact, you mentioned the topic of the course playing easy or whatever. That was something that was popping in the group chat today too. And the argument is, for a major championship, you know what I mean? We want to see lower scores. We want to see these guys have trouble out there. We want to see the best golfers in the world be challenged more often than not, rather than, just scoring at will. 20 under, you have multiple guys that are down there at that number. It's, and close and in contention on Sunday. Like, it made it, that was what made it interesting, was that there were so many guys that were in the mix, and if somebody came out and shot a 62 on Sunday,
it wouldn't have shocked anybody.
In the middle of the pack, maybe they take the lead and they just go in the clubhouse and hope to hold and, whatever. That didn't happen that way. It ended up being way more entertaining than that. It came down to the end with Bryson. Xander had, to actually go out there and win it, and he did it, dog. And he finally got the monkey off his back as far as not being able to close. I don't know how many times we were going to see this guy come up as runner-up or top 5 in a major.
Yeah. No, and the way he did it, like I said, man, he became the 4th player to win a major championship, right, while shooting under 20. That's, again, impressive when you're doing something that only 3 other people have done. And the first time that it was done, I think it was 2010. So, yeah, you're doing impressive shit out there, and it's good for him to win it in that fashion.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's good for him to win it at a course like that that was easily dominated by Bryson for the last 2 years, and not Bryson, Brooks dominated by Brooks, right? Where his game was so adapted to how it was right at the championship.
And Brooksy, bro, he just had one I think these guys said that he had 2 or 3 bad holes that pretty much took him out of it, because Saturday he had a couple doubles or something like that kind of screwed him up, and then Sunday he was playing lights out, bro. He was too far back to get into the mix, but he balled out on Sunday, bro.
He really did.
That guy's on demon time when he's out there at the PGA Championship, bro.
When he knows it's on the line and it's Sunday, this is where people come up.
I had him. That was one of my picks, bro, and he did really well for me, but Schauffele did a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. And look, even Colin, dog, because I had put $5 or $10 on Colin, right, to win on after Friday's round, right, or right around mid Saturday's round, some shit like that, just to be like, fuck it, let me throw some $10 on here, somebody outside the favorites, right?
Yeah, good odds.
And I was like, man, this dude is really playing well on Saturday. And then I see Sunday, and I'm like, okay, he's not playing bad, but it's not anything that he should be happy about, because he wasn't attacking golf. He was spraying it left and right. He had to make up a lot of shots in order to continue to get par, which showed how good his short game was, right? Getting out of trouble and still being able to get par and get out of there without a bogey. When that course had given a lot of the golfers a lot of trouble when they did go left or right, and they found themselves in that tall rough. It was great to see, but it just sucks for those guys, especially him, right? Because he didn't do anything bad, but he still couldn't come up, and he shot a minus. He was still 14 under.
Talking about Scotty?
Yeah, no, Colin.
Oh, Colin. I'm sorry.
And look, you mentioned about how the course played. Tiger played terrible.
Wait, but before we do that, okay, let's talk about Tiger. Let's talk about Tiger.
He played terrible, right? Terrible, and he still shot a 77 on Friday, dog. 6 over. Didn't make the cut because he was
he missed the cut.
or 1 over.
Yeah, but that's just lack of practice for Tiger, dog. And it was kind of, but it was kind of better to see, him not play in the weekend if he wasn't going to be able to compete. It sucked to see what happened at the Masters, bro. But we got to. I mean, I don't know how we've been talking about the PGA Championship this much and talked about Scotty already, and we haven't talked about the biggest storyline that happened over the weekend, which was the #1 golfer in the world getting arrested on the way to the venue that he's competing at.
Yeah, that was wild.
Bro.
That was wild.
I was golfing. We can talk about that after we wrap up on the PGA. I was up early for a tee time at Cabot, and I just got a notification, dog. I don't know. It just came up on my thing, and I'm like, Scotty Scheffler arrest? What? Click it real fast, bro. Sure enough, an altercation. Somebody there was
fucking handcuffs.
There was somebody had died. Somebody did die, unfortunately, of a tragedy
in the accident
where somebody got run over or something like that. Ended up losing their life. But that was what caused, I guess, the traffic and the amount of new cops that were there, which apparently. I heard this on the Foreplay podcast. Apparently, all the guys that were working detail for that tournament, they all know golf. They volunteer for that. But then as soon as somebody died, they called dispatch and they had all the cops come in. So there's a bunch of people, and there was a guy that had the one guy that doesn't know anything about golf, doesn't know the best golfer in the world, and he arrested him, dog.
No, what's funny is I saw the meme. It was like, oh, I bagged me a big boy. He was like, oh yeah, he's 6'3", 230 pounds. And he's like, please don't tell me something about a chef. I don't know, Chef Scott. And he was like, don't tell me you arrested Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, come on,
that's
man.
him. That's when I was like, yeah.
Bro.
This is the type of shit that happens in those small towns.
Bro, but wild, bro. Wild that happened.
Super wild.
By now, charges have been dropped already officially and everything, but the fact that guy got arrested, went to jail. He made a joke about it in the presser afterwards. That he was like, I stretched in a jail cell this morning. That was a little bit different or whatever. Yeah. But he legit made it to the course barely.
Shot a 66 still, dog.
And shot a 66 on Friday, bro. It was like, holy shit, this guy's. Bro, there's no stopping this guy. He's going to win the tournament. I thought at that point Scotty was going to win the tournament.
We all did.
And then Saturday came around, and he didn't do so well. He kind of regressed a little bit. It was the one bad round of the 4 that he had.
You know what it was? I think it was everything
going to jail.
No, everything set in. Yeah. He got to sleep, and
adrenaline
everything hit him. Everything hit him all at once.
The adrenaline probably helped him get through the round, and then once it was done and then gone,
Right.
Probably was
everything hit him all at once. As soon as he got out the shower at the crib that he was renting, it's like, I need to go cry real quick. I'm going to be in this room. Don't let nobody in. Yeah, you know, and that shit is, you know, people think that golf is like a physical game or you're just, no, bro, it's 98% mental. Golf is 98% mental, 98% mental. How do you react to things? How can you stay calm? How can you calculate things? Like, it's mental. It's a mental game. There was no way that Scotty was going to be able to retain that power, dog. It's not like he was playing terrible golf.
Nah, he shot a great round on Sunday. Got into the top 10.
You know what I mean? So, like, it's not like he was playing terrible golf, but just it's really hard. It just shows that he's human, right? And imagine, dog, getting out of jail and shooting a 66. I don't think there's anybody else on either tour right now that could have done that.
He finished tied for 8th.
Look at that.
Want to know the other names?
Yeah.
Billy Horschel, Robbie McIntyre, and a guy that we got to take a moment to talk about, Kentucky's own, Justin Thomas.
Yes, that's my dog.
I was happy to see the kid play good, dog.
And he was happy, Joel.
He's that level player. Like he's a
top 10 guy
every time. Justin Thomas to be a top 10, top 20 player all the time.
All the time. And I think that he was just really happy with how he was playing golf. You know, he had that beautiful hole out on, I think it was the 14th, where he was on that high pitch area and he got it down on the green. And as soon as he hit the green, he went like that little pistol motion, which, you know, if you play golf, you know that means it's going in.
There was a lot of hole outs this
There was a lot, dog. Bro, how about the gala, dog? My boy,
Shambo?
The chef, dog, the real chef.
Oh, Minwoo?
Yeah, dog, my Lululemon thug, dog. Bro, he holed out 3 times in one round.
Yeah.
What?
That's wild. It was just playing so easy, dog.
But that's the course. Is too easy. Right? That's the course, and that's where we can jump in
for
on
these guys, not for us. We'll get our teeth kicked in. I want to just make sure we're being clear about that.
100%.
We're talking about the world's best golfers,
correct,
playing in one of the 4 major championships.
One of the reasons why the Masters is so amazing is because that shit is hard. Every year, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. No matter what they do to the holes, the conditions make it hard. The time that they play in makes it hard, man. And I think that if you're talking about major championships, right? Major championships, you have to make it the most difficult possible thing for these guys. You know why? Because they're cruising on the rest of the fucking other 30 tournaments that they play in for the rest of the year, depending on what your caliber as golf is, right? You're cruising, dog. You're playing in Arizona. You're playing at the Valspar. Like all these, you're playing at the Waste Management. Everything is much more acclimated to the golfers. Let's make the majors real majors and make it tough, because I don't recall, you know, and maybe somebody who's older than us can point this out, but I don't think they ever did things like this where, you know, you have Tiger Woods winning a major championship by scoring, you know, by being 25 strokes under par. No, man, no, not even at his greatest, dog. You know.
I can look it up. We could probably pull that up. But I mean, just to talk about this year's Masters, you know, yeah, you could say, yeah, that was double digits, but it was Scotty. Scotty was the lone guy at double digits.
The only one.
11 under. The next closest guy was Oberg at 7 under.
Right.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody else, like, and then after that, 4 under is tied for 3rd.
And look.
So, you don't have a bunch of guys that are, like, past 5 under. You know what I mean? Like, it was very, you can tell it was a hard, challenging task that day.
Absolutely. And their scores lend credence to that, dog, if you think about it, because you're talking about the world's best golfer only being 11 strokes better than par. Right? And the
course of 4 days.
And the kid playing lights out of his mind, his best weekend ever, right? It was still not even close to being in contention to winning, right? Because he didn't have a chance at getting at Scotty that weekend.
Yeah, but, you know, that the U.S. Open's going to be the complete opposite. You know,
complete opposite.
You're going to have
tough course,
5-inch rough, and, you know, the wind's probably going to be blowing. Yeah, there was no wind either. There was no wind this weekend in Kentucky. Like, it was like perfect golf conditions. Don't get me wrong; those are perfect. Golf
I probably would have broke 100 out there.
Any of us would prefer that. I'm just gonna skim right over that one. Golf is still hard. Golf is still hard. We will not hit those shots, but these guys have all the shots, and when you give them perfect grass, no wind, very to little undulations on the greens.
Joel, when was the last time you saw so many guys laying up?
Oh, I mean, it was
laying up, purposely laying up to score better.
On that one par 4, that was the short one, like the Island Green par 4. Only that one guy went for it. Toasty.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw his shot. He stuck it to 6 feet, dog.
That's badass.
Crazy.
That's badass. You know, but nobody else went for it, right? Because everybody was like, I can guarantee myself a birdie.
It's too risky of a shot.
I can guarantee myself a birdie look just by laying up.
Yeah,
that's too easy, in my opinion, right? For these guys, that's too easy.
What about any other memorable performances? Anybody else stand out to you? I got one more before we wrap up on them.
I was happy to see Zalatoris playing well. He was in the top 25 for a minute. I like that. Who else? Victor Hovland, man. He put in a good weekend. Real good weekend.
He played well on Saturday.
I liked it.
He kind of fizzled out though.
Yeah, Sunday. He did. But you know what? That happened.
But he still finished third place.
Tony Finau too. He put a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, solo third, 18 under.
Yeah, man. Victor Hovland played well, bro.
All right.
In that final group with Bryson, right?
Yeah. Or second to final group because Xander was in the final with Morikawa. The only other guy that stood out to me was Jon Rahm. Missed the cut.
Ouch.
Another missed cut for Jon Rahm.
Ouch.
And one hell of a club toss, bro. I don't know if you saw this, but he had a two-handed club throw that was hilarious.
I've seen it happen a couple of times, you know, with people that I played with. I'm not going to name no names, including myself. But yeah, dog, that shit is kind of discouraging, if I'm being honest with you, right? To see a professional golfer get to that level, because I always think to myself, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody when it comes to this game. And I do that maybe 0.056% of the time that I play golf, where I throw a club. Because I pay for my clubs, right? So I'm not getting a new one off the truck if it breaks tomorrow. But more importantly, it's not what the game is about, right? You got to have that composure. You got to be able to be like, you know, restrain yourself, play that mental battle, right? Get over it and continue to play the game. When you see the pros do it like that, that's kind of whack, because there are a lot of kids. People don't notice. People just see the adults. But there are tons of kids at these events week in and week out. It's a bad example. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. I know it's nerdy of me to say that.
That's really weak, dog.
It is, dog.
I love it. Just because it's Jon Rahm and that's the guy. But I mean, I love it because it's just funny concept.
Right, you wouldn't expect to see him do that.
No, 100% you would, bro. Do you not know Jon Rahm? He's a hothead. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, and which is why it's very likely that he would be the one to do that. But it sucks that he's just kind of going through some shit right now. Like, he obviously is going through something right now. Signed to live, and, you know, thought he might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back as far as a tipping point to like get a deal done for everybody to come together, and like that hasn't happened
at all.
He's not winning over there. You know, he's getting kind of ostracized by the PGA Tour and everybody that he left behind, and then hasn't performed well already in 2 majors, even though he won last year's Masters. Like, he's kind of going through it, dog. Missed the cut, like 2 back-to-back cuts, missed completely. Like, for a guy that was the #1 golfer in the world not too long ago.
Yeah,
and it's
a bad look.
I mean, I would justify that club toss, dog. He's going through it right now. I just hope that he figures it out.
Because 100% justified. 100% justified. But you got to know that you can't do that shit.
I ain't no role model, dog.
That's like throwing the ball into the stands when you fucking, you know, the game's over or something like that.
No, there's a difference. Absolutely. The fans stand in the stands.
Because let's be honest. Again, yeah, he's in the middle of the fairway.
Baseball players get mad all the time.
Hold on. He's in the middle of the freaking fairway. So yeah, he tosses it. Even if he tosses it his absolute hardest, dog, he's not hitting anybody, right?
Yeah, that's my point.
All right, but if he's closer to like where the gallery usually stands, or if he's in a tough lie and he throws his club, he's killing somebody.
He's not doing that.
Maybe he's not killing somebody, but for sure he's injuring somebody.
He's not doing that at that point. He did it because he was completely by himself. Nobody was around him, and you know that's what that happened. But
not a good showing for the live guys.
I mean, DeChambeau was number 2.
Yeah, it was the only one.
I mean, that's pretty good showing, dog.
Who else?
Let me see. Let's go through the list here.
We got Colin, Justin, Shane Lowry. He's a PGA guy.
Yeah, Lowry is. Rory's about to be a live guy.
We don't know that. Speculation.
Let's see. Brooks Koepka was up there. He was tied for 26, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know any of the other guys. Joaquin Neiman, tied for 39th.
Phil,
I didn't see anything that Phil did. Yeah, the Liv guys didn't have too hot a Taylor Gooch. I don't see Taylor Gooch anywhere.
Nope.
DeChambeau, though, holding it down. You know, he's
the only one.
He's holding it down for them.
He was the only one.
But yeah, Bryson was hype, man. I was honestly hoping for a playoff because he tied it up. I was kind of hoping that Xander wouldn't birdie it, even though I knew he was going to once he got it up there by the green. I knew he won it. Man, nope. But it lipped in. There was a chance. That it almost went to a playoff, and that would have been exciting. I think that DeChambeau might have taken it, bro. He was real hot.
He was hot for sure. He was definitely playing focused golf. He was on fire for sure. He probably would have made a push for it at the end.
But hey, shout out to Xander, bro.
Shout out to Xander, Congrats, bro. Welcome to the club. Now you're official badass in golf, dog. You got a major championship under your belt. That's dope, man.
That's fire.
Quick shout out to the Marlins.
Oh, hey.
Look at that. Nice hat. Yeah, they won 4 games, and then they lost the next one. But whatever. They won 4 games.
But a streak, bro. You like to see a little bit of a fight.
I'll take a 4-game win streak. You know why? Because I didn't think they had any.
Yeah, that's
I'm being
exactly
dead
right.
ass honest with you.
I thought we were selling already at this point. Araez traded
you know what's funny, dog? Rolly hit me up. Nomad Custom. Shout out to Rolly, man. He hit me up, and he was like, bro, I don't get why we don't sell this team to a fucking billionaire. And I'm like, well, because Major League Baseball doesn't want us to have a billionaire owner. It's that simple. The Marlins are a farm system that works for the rest of the MLB. Simple, dog. Simple.
Sad.
We're never going to be a Yankees, Angels, Dodgers. Seattle. We're not going to be one of those teams, dog. We're not. We're not, dog. If Jeff Bezos buys this team tomorrow, ain't shit changing with the Marlins, dog. We have a multi-million-dollar owner, millionaire owner, dog. Not the richest, but he's the brokest in MLB in terms of wealth, right? And what they spend on their team. That's just what we are, dog. We're a good commodity for somebody to own for 5-6 years, have it in their portfolio, flip it on to the next guy and say, hey, here's how you can get rid of taxes for 5-6 years. That's what it is, dog.
He's only worth $500 million, apparently, according to this article by Marlins Maniac.
Which is pennies. Pennies when it comes to the rest of the baseball owners, dog.
He bought the team for $1.2 billion, which is concerning.
Hey, man.
This pretty much guarantees.
You almost buy that shit with a lot. If you hit the lottery, when the lottery gets to like 1.2, you can make it. If you want to get crazy, make an offer. Buy the Marlins. I'm sure this dude will entertain it, dog. You know what I mean? You tell him, oh, I got $500 million down. Sell me the team, homie. Here's an immediate return on your investment. Yeah, let's see. I think it would happen. We also have to shout out Alexander Usyk. Yeah. Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world from Ukraine. He got the unanimous decision over Tyson and Fury. And he earned it, in my opinion. I don't know if you watched the fight.
I saw the clips you posted.
Fucking rocked him and really dominated the second half of the fight. Had Tyson Fury in a lot of trouble, man.
Dazed.
No, super knocked. He had him knocked out on his feet, 100%. There's no doubt about that, right? The video on YouTube shows that. Go watch it if you haven't. But even after that, in the 9th round, 10th round, you know, yeah, Fury was working and trying to get back his rhythm, but Usyk was just presenting him problems just by coming forward and being smart about when he's throwing punches at him. And he's a much smaller dude in stature and in weight. Fury had him about 40 pounds that night, and he's about 6 inches shorter than Fury.
Yeah, there you could see.
And he still got all up inside his guard, all up inside his defense, and landed some heavy punches, man.
We've seen that happen before, you know. Sometimes you can't count out the smaller guy because they can get closer into the inside.
Yeah.
Take advantage where the big guys can't.
Yeah, man. It was a good fight. We're going to see it again. They both had an automatic rematch clause. Rematch clause in their contract, so I think it's a good fight. I'm interested in seeing it again, right? And whether Usyk can put him out, because now we know in his last 2 fights, Fury's been dropped and completely dazed. That could be the decline of the Gypsy Kings.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, steel armor, right? And not taking guys as serious as he should in the ring. So let's see. But I think it's time to wrap up this portion of the podcast. I think we got to throw it to the DJ Monopoly special guest jump off for the Panthers versus the Rangers.
All right, before we do that, how about we recap what got us to the Eastern Conference Finals with just the last 2 games?
Let's do that.
against the Boston Bruins because that last game where we sealed it off was the best game of the series.
That was it, man.
Up in Boston.
For sure. And it was the best game because of the resiliency that the Panthers showed, right? You go down early, and you're trying to figure out a way to get back into this game, and you really turn it on in the second period. And I had mentioned it before that the second period was where the Panthers were really turning on the pressure on the Bruins. And in that second period, we got the goal that tied the game up. And what that did was really give the belief to the Panthers to say, yo, we can do this, right? Whether it's at home, on the road, it doesn't matter. We're going to find a way to win it. And not only did they find a way to win it, obviously they keep it, at the most dramatic fashion, right? With a late minute goal from forcing.
Minute 40 seconds or something like that?
Minute 53, man.
From our defenseman, bro. Just off of a rebound.
But look, Gus Forsling, bro, that's one of the guys that, that I mentioned as far as being a producer, right? Hey, this is my job. Here's everything that I'm going to do, and then I'll give you the extra. He's not supposed to be scoring goals, but
he was in the right place at the right time,
absolutely, bro. But guess what? That's three goals he has this playoff run so far.
And
that's
beyond
the most
important one.
Yeah, for sure. But that's beyond being in the right place at the right time. That's just you being a playmaker, right? Montour had that big assist in the second period to tie the game up. That's a defenseman. He's coming from all the way behind the blue line, moving the puck to move up to help the offense get a better look. Right. Those are those guys, man, that make the extra plays, that make the extra effort, that help beat good teams like Boston. Now we're going to go up against the Rangers, another good team who's on fire, and I expect our guys to keep playing with that same level of intensity.
100%. But if there's one thing I can criticize that we got to improve from the Boston series, man, it was the fact that we even had to go to Boston for that game 6.
Yeah.
We lost.
That's a big thing.
We lost the first game at home, and we also lost that 5th game at home.
Yep.
When we had a chance to seal it. And that was something that's the only thing I would criticize. Everything else was beautiful, but Legit. It's like we got to make sure we capitalize on home ice. I love the fact that we can win on the road.
Yes.
That gives me confidence going into places like New York, especially now that they have home ice. But we got to be able to win at home, bro. We can't let these guys come in our house.
No, for sure. And I think, but what I will, kind of say to counter that is two things. First and foremost, in the NHL, especially this playoffs, we've seen that a lot of the road teams are winning, right? Dallas has gone to Colorado and won. Colorado went to Dallas and won. Like New York, they lost to Carolina at home because Carolina was on the road. Like we've seen teams go out on the road and get games. This particular playoffs in the NHL, so it's not uncommon. With the Panthers, I will rely on the fact that before the home was their only strength, right? And probably the best way of winning a series or winning a game. This year is different. And we'll talk about it with DJ Monopoly. But, the fact that both teams are comfortable on the road, they were both had won 26, 25 games respectively. Panthers 26, Rangers 25 games on the road this year. And they've done it in the playoffs. Shows you that there's high level of hockey being played. And whether you can bring it at home or on the ice, doesn't matter. You're going to have to bring it anyways because that's the only way you're going to advance. And that's what we saw. We saw the Rangers do it. We saw Colorado. We saw the Panthers do it. Like we're seeing these teams excel because of how they're able to play both at home and on the road. And it's not like we're getting our asses kicked at home too, right? We're losing by 1 or 2 goals. And that one of the games that we lost, that game 5, was a very close game. And we almost tied it up like 6 times in the last 5 minutes. So very close battles. It's not like we're getting blown out. Let's see, man. I'm excited to do this breakdown with DJ Monopoly, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. He's a great DJ. Guys are amazing. He did my cousin Rich's wedding. That's how we linked up. And then I found out he's a Knicks and Rangers fan. I was like, what?
And he
DJs for those guys. I was like, yo, this guy. Perfect guy to have on to talk about Panthers and Rangers, man. So we hope you guys enjoy it.
Let's get into it.
And we're here with Dan, a.k.a. DJ Monopoly, the DJ for the New York Rangers and New York Knicks and also the New York Jets. This guy's all over the place. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
We have an invader. We have a trespasser on the pod.
I vouch for this guy.
Welcome, brother. Glad to have you.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it.
Dan, man, you've been on a hell of a ride, man. But before we jump on that journey, let our South Florida, New York fan base, because we know there's a lot of them down here, where they can follow one of the official DJs for the Knicks, Rangers, and the Jets.
I appreciate it, man. So I at Monopoly Music, so it's Monopoli Music, on pretty much everything, primarily Instagram and TikTok, and I've really been focused on trying to get some content out there to show like my experience at the games. So even if you're not a Knicks or Rangers fan, it's still something cool to see. A little behind the scenes action of like what goes into these sporting events. From the music side of things, it's really, really crazy. So I think people would enjoy that.
Absolutely. I enjoy it, man. And not only because I know you, right? Because I know the hard work that it takes to curate a music playlist, right? And get the fans involved and get everybody hyped up and people like Joel and I, right? To kind of get into the mood of being in the game. That's not an easy job, man.
Anybody that's ever been in a outing with their friends and had the responsibility of having the aux cord, you know what I mean? The pressure that is. Just imagine that on a way larger scale. I can only imagine what you go through, bro. So, but what do you do? You stick to the hits, or what is your style for the games?
Well, so it's crazy because, I going into sports, I already had 10, 11 years of DJing experience under my belt. So, once I had the first opportunity, I kind of was still looking at everything through the lens of just like DJing, like, actually having time to mix songs together. And you enter the sports world and you realize that the windows to play music are so small. So it comes down to obviously selecting the right records at the right times. That's like paramount to everything. And then figuring out ways where you can basically like get to the best part immediately, like basically get to the point. So if you only have, especially like a timeout or something like that, if you only have a minute to work with, you have to make that minute count. So like my first season, I just remember just being like, damn, like it's over already. I barely got through 2 songs. Like, so you kind of start to realize like how you really need to, like, you need to hit those notes immediately. You need to hit the right notes. But I've learned from the best in the business. I got Ray Castaldi as he's the organist and the music director at MSG. And man, I could not possibly have a better person to learn from. He's literally the GOAT in the sports music world. So, obviously anytime he provides feedback, it's been about 4 or 5 years now that I've been with MSG. So anytime that he provides feedback, I just soak it up because I'm like this guy knows, like there's no questioning it. So naturally I try to figure out those places where I can kind of bring my style into it. And, not just rely on like what's worked for 30 years. Like obviously we all know what works, and that's why sometimes these stadium anthems they're not going anywhere. But there are other opportunities where I feel like I could start to input a little something different, and that's what I've been trying to do for a couple years now.
Put a little bit of your own flavor or twist on certain things.
For sure.
You gotta do it. So set you apart.
No, I mean, you're in a great spot, right? Because if you think about it, New York is such a mecca when it comes to music, right? There's so many styles and different artists and players that, have lend themselves to the culture of being in New York, whether it's at the Garden or with the Jets and the Giants. Like there's always been that atmosphere of those two worlds combining, man. So you got a big job and responsibility on your hands to keep it moving, because I know right now the music scene is a buzzing with all this Drake versus Kendrick versus J. Cole versus everybody else in the industry. So I'm sure you got a lot of hits you can pick from.
I'm sure Not Like Us is big in the rotation, or is gonna be if it's not.
So as of right now, we're staying out of that.
Okay.
We've chosen to stay out of it. Stuff like that. Especially because it is MSG. It is like you said, it is the mecca. So what we do is magnified 100%. So we really, really are careful about that kind of stuff, like the thought process that goes into selecting music, and obviously there's certain artists and things when they're in the headlines, we're like, let's just stay away from it. You don't want to be attached to something like that. So we want to make sure it's always positive. It's always, it's always like on the up and up, and just like putting out the right message to fans and everybody. And it's tough because, like you said, it's not just New York being New York from a music standpoint. The diversity is crazy, but even just within the confines of the building of, trying to make the fans happy, trying to make ownership and management happy, like everybody kind of has a little bit of a different opinion on what the music should be, and it's so subjective, right? Like everybody enjoys different things.
For sure.
So that's, our job is to try to find the balance, and really, you can't make everybody happy, but we certainly try to.
I was gonna say, man, like it makes sense because even more so, those guys aren't New York guys, right? So like, if you play a lot of, Southern music or West Coast music,
the West Coast, like it's just
everybody's gonna be like, "Where's the Fat Joe? Where's the Fabulous? Like, let's get the Bruce Springsteen going here, like like
give me
what's
some
going
50.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
give me some feel.
You got to think like again, sports has taught me like the lyrics matter too. Like, so we really, when I listen to a song now, I listen to it through a completely different scope than I did previously. Like, so obviously some of those diss records back and forth, just some of the content, it gets a little crazy in there. You know what I mean? With some of the personal shots, it's just like, why are you going to bring that into the arena? Like, it's, it's like, I'm thinking
Especially
about the kids
if
that
you
are
only
coming
have
to the
30
event.
seconds, right? If we're talking about you have 30, 40 seconds, like you don't want to get lost in the sauce with that stuff. I hear you.
I can't tell the whole story. So, exactly.
Right.
100%.
So let me ask you this, DJ Monopoly, being, a Knicks fan first and foremost, right? And then getting to take that long ride that you guys had, right before you guys came up short in Game 7. How was that from both a personal fan stand base and also from like being able to set up the atmosphere for those games you were in?
Well, I mean, from a personal standpoint, I mean, I've been watching Knicks basketball for so long, so I'm so invested in this team way before I even stepped foot in the arena to be able to play music for the first time and be a part of that side of things. So I'm like every other fan that's like, every time we win, I'm fired. I'm yelling at the TV, even if I'm not working and it's a away game, I'm here yelling at the TV. Like, so, it was an exhilarating ride. And I think most importantly, just like the group of guys that we had, like the collection of not just players, but human beings. Like, it was just such a great group of guys that, like, every time somebody went down, somebody stepped up. It's just like, if you're gonna like tell a story about sports and you're gonna like, it's gonna have this just epic journey to the championship. It's like we had like all the narrative for it. It just, you know what I mean? Like, you have Jalen Brunson, like somebody who just constantly doubted, and then you got guys like Josh Hart, who just like is a Swiss Army knife. He'll just do whatever you need done on the basketball court. So, I think that's why
Villanova really, guys.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, like, obviously we knew that connection was going to be something special, just because when you have camaraderie and you have guys who would just play selflessly, that always leads to positive things in sports. So I think that's why it galvanized the whole city, and everybody really got behind them. For us, like, playing the music and just trying to, we're also trying to stay in the moment and just make sure that we're doing anything we can possibly do to impact the game. And sometimes it seems silly because, the players play and obviously we don't, but we do feel like we can kind of impact what happens if we're getting the fans into things. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. Give us an example. 100%.
Give me a small example of when you think you achieved that, right? With one of your tracks.
Yeah. Well, so I'll Game 7, literally right before the game started, we're always going over things. We're, outside of sound check and rehearsals and all that stuff, we're kind of game planning, like, what's the tone we want to take. It's Game 7. It's different than every other playoff game. Playoffs is a little bit more intense already, but Game 7, we wanted to make sure we took it up another notch. So, kind of all like the middle of the road, like kind of corny, fun stuff. Like, we were like, all right, we're going to try to stay away from that. We're going to try to keep it a little heavier. So I was, in my preparation for the game, I thought of, classic Cameron, Jay-Z, Welcome to New York City, which we've used many, many times in the past. So a lot of times when like songs are attached to like a video that we use or something like that, it's my job to stay away from it, because just like a DJ would in a nightclub, you don't want to hear the same record twice.
Right.
So I was kind of just going back through my mental Rolodex, and I'm like, you know what? We haven't played it in a while. Like, is that still something in our rotation? And again, Ray was like, no, like, it's fair game. Like, maybe we should bring it back. And I was like, we should absolutely bring it back. So we literally sat there and just kind of brainstormed, like, when would we play it? What's the best use of it? And then we sat there for probably 3 to 5 minutes, and I created like a little custom edit of it, so that, again, like, What's the part that we want? And obviously it has that kind of build up and that, but then it kind of has like a long intro. So we shortened the intro and then we went right into the hook. So, while there weren't many exhilarating moments in that game, unfortunately, there was
Depends what type of fan you are, though.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough. But in the third quarter, when the Knicks made that run, and I think they pushed it down to like 6 or 7, the lead down to 6 or 7, something like that. It was the perfect opportunity. So it was like right at the end of a timeout, we ended up using that as kind of a buzzer lift. So like right before the end of a timeout, normally we'll use EDM or something. On the Rangers side, we'll use maybe something a little bit more hard hitting. Kind of like the noise meter stuff, like the really driving stuff to try to like basically rev the crowd back up before, the play starts again and before the puck drops. So we went with that instead. And it kind of just like, it was just one of those moments where when we played it, it just felt like the perfect moment. Like, there you go. Like that was the right track at the right moment. Everybody was super, super into it. I mean, I was getting texts from people being like, yo, what a great song choice. So like, that's how so it's just like something like that.
Out.
Like it's so simple, but yeah, it's just like it was like I said before, the placement is critical. Yeah, that's the number one thing that I'm learning. Yeah, there's still times where I'm like, I'll play something and I'll be like, damn, that wasn't quite it. Game actually, so I did game 5 as well. When Dante got into a little scuffle twice, he got into a little scuffle.
Right.
Normally, we don't poke the bear too much. Like if things happen, like obviously when there's fights on the ice, that's a whole different ball game. But when there's like little things, little whatever on the basketball court, we tend to like, not want to get too crazy. The first time it happened, I immediately went to Ludacris, Get Back. I was like, oh, it's the playoffs, like bam. So and like people enjoyed it. And then the next time it happened, I went into DMX We Right Here. And then again, just the hook. And then immediately went like, fans were getting into it. I could see people were kind of getting a little rowdy. And then I immediately went into Rough Riders Anthem. And then, people are, I'm like, it's like, stop. And I pull it out, drop, shut them down, open up, shot, pull it out.
Yeah, let's go.
So like, just like little moments like that. But again, it was like what happened on the court dictated what I played. And just the moment and the placement of that song, it makes it work. And it kind of just, you're embracing the energy of the arena.
That's awesome, bro. And you know what? Thank you for that. That's a great example, and it really gives a background to what you were saying earlier, right? How you can build up that atmosphere and that experience for a fan that's sitting down, enjoying a game in front of them, watching and experiencing that, but listening to the soundtrack while they're getting those visuals. They say that music is a soundtrack to life, man. And it definitely helps to bring that type of mentality, into a basketball game or a hockey game experience, right? Where you can kind of add that soundtrack to a fan's experience, bro. That shit is awesome, man. Let's talk a little bit about the Rangers and the Panthers, bro. The Panthers won the regular season 2-1. One of those wins was up in New York. You guys got another win up in New York. You guys are hot right now, coming in fully loaded. Just getting back Blake Wheeler. I saw that he was practicing. He was a huge motivating factor for the Rangers run. You guys got dudes like Chris Kreider coming off a 3 games goal, like
wild,
a crazy 3-goal period, and it's like, man, the Rangers are really hot, and for us Panthers fans, we haven't seen too many teams that are as hot as the Rangers are. What do you think that has led to the Rangers' success this year?
I just think it's the right collection of guys. They have a lot of talented guys. Obviously, like you got Mika, like you said, Chris Kreider, and of course Panarin having a crazy year. So like you just have the right collection of guys. Igor is obviously just going to be Igor. You can always rely on him keeping us in games. So I think it's. I expect this series to be incredibly intense. These teams to me are like so dead even. I truthfully, like, I don't know how it's going to go. I think when the Rangers can jump ahead and get the first goal of the game, I think that changes things. We will have home ice, which is beautiful. Huge. So, if we get to a game 7, which honestly, I would not be shocked in the slightest. I'll be in the building, so I'll be super excited and nervous as hell, like I was the other night. with the Knicks. So yeah, man, I just think like sometimes it just all comes together, and there were pockets throughout this year where they were incredible, and then there were other times where they were really really shaky.
Yeah.
But they just seem to figure it out every time it got like that, or guys got hurt. Like they just seem to figure it out. So yeah, man, I expect like an incredibly hard fought series. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
I totally agree with you, man. And you're right. These teams are very similar. I was chopping it up with Joel earlier, and we were talking about how these two teams are equally as good on the road, right? They both had over 25 wins in the regular season on the road, including multiple playoff wins on the road, right? Closing out series and on the road. That stuff is always tough in hockey, and people kind of like underestimate how hard it is to close out a series on the road in hockey. It happens in football, it happens in basketball all the time, but in hockey is really, really tough. So I would see this series going 7 games, just like you said, man, because both teams have like these X factor type players, right? For us, it's Barkov and Kachuk. For you guys, it's Mika and Trocheck. I think that those are two guys, man, that they just make magic happen on the ice. At any given time, it's a push, it's a puck, a puck deflection, it's a shot on goal, it's an assist. These guys find ways to just make an impact on the game.
100%, man. 100%. I mean, and look at what Chris Kreider did, like you said, in the third period. I mean, it's just like that level of resilience, to finish it off like that away is crazy. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. Trocheck has had a hell of a playoff run too. So, all those guys are going to have to play their absolute best. I mean, they're going to have to play their butts off.
Yeah, this is going to be for sure an absolute battle. But do you guys think that it's going to fall and be more dependent on the role players, the guys, who has the deeper bench, or is it going to fall on the shoulders of the guys you alluded to earlier, the main guys?
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be the main guys. I think the main guys got to shine. They got to shine. The same way Brunson had to be Brunson. Like it's just, I think that these are the times when your main guys, your superstars, they got to do their thing. Yeah, they gotta play the part.
No, I totally agree with you.
Igor's got to be Igor. Like that's just
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He's kind of like your shining star that doesn't get the accolades, kind of like Big Bob is for us, right? Big Bob has kept us in so many games just by not necessarily pitching a shutout in hockey, which is pretty impossible nowadays, but like the fact that he's not allowing 2-3 goals and still facing 40 shots, like that shit is tough, man. And these guys make it look easy.
Yep. Yeah, and he's been available and healthy too. So that's been the biggest thing for us is we got health.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how you guys are standing. I don't know how the Rangers are standing right now.
No, they're pretty healthy. They're pretty healthy. That's what I was saying earlier with Blake Wheeler. He's a forward that can really cause a lot of issue. He has a lot of speed. Obviously, he's coming back from a leg injury, so we won't know how good he'll be on the ice. But I think that in hockey or in any team sport, when you have a guy come back off an injury and is willing to throw into the fire and put his body on the line and say, hey guys, I'm here to battle it out and tough it out with you, that's an extra motivating factor. And I think that the Rangers could feed off of that.
It's definitely a mental lift for sure, or an emotional lift for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, man, I think it's gonna be really, really exciting. Like, I don't, anybody who has it slanted one way or the other, like, indefinitely, I don't see it.
I mean, you're just a homer at that point. You know what I mean? On paper, these two teams are rightfully, the two best teams for the Eastern Conference Final. And it's going to be a battle, bro. I definitely, on my end, I was just telling, before you jumped on, the biggest critique that I had of the Panthers was just the amount of games we let Boston in the last series, win at our place, even though we were able to, get a couple wins on the road. Ultimately, I think we closed it out on the road in Boston, but I want to be able to win more at home, So now not having the home ice advantage, we got to go in there. I know you said that your guys, as long as you go up early, you guys are doing well. I mean, we're used to clawing back, so it's no sweat to us to be down, 1 or 2 goals and be able to come back. So this has all the makings of being a phenomenal series right here.
Absolutely. And we're talking about the number 3 team and number 4 team in goals when it comes to it, man. These two teams are both focused on putting up as much offense as possible and seeing where the goals fall or the pucks land later, right? They're just worried about putting shots on goal, shots on goal. So I don't see if we'll see a lot of high scoring games because truth be told, the Rangers are a defensive juggernaut, man. And I'm excited, bro. And I'm excited to hear the music that you play while you're DJing those games, man. For real.
So every home game for them, you're going to be out there doing your thing?
No, not everyone. I'll be on game 2 and, like I said, game 7.
Okay,
so
so we'll be closely listening to the game 2 soundtrack that night. That's for sure.
For sure, man.
Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. Like game 1, the homie DJ Rumor, who's the other resident DJ, he'll be holding it down. So he'll be on game 1 and game 5. So, I have a little extra time to prepare for the Eastern Conference Finals.
and see how it goes, right? Based off of game 1, how you have to, adjust the music pattern, right? Yeah. Are you coming off a win? Are you coming off a loss? That can change a couple of the songs on the playlist.
And also, the crowds are different between a basketball crowd and a hockey crowd. So I'm guessing the soundtracks and what you're playing are very different, as far as what music you choose.
Incredibly different.
What is the biggest difference in those two?
More rock?
Well, I mean, so obviously with hockey, pretty much the emphasis is mostly on rock, and that could span. Like, I play a lot of classic rock. Especially we have the older generation that's still there, coming and attending games, season ticket holders and whatnot. We try to get those classics in there. Obviously, we try to throw in some like more of the like alternative modern rock, like the Fall Out Boys and stuff like that, just to keep it fun. And then of course, plenty of hard rock.
You gotta have the Metallicas, the AC/DC.
You gotta have the heavy hitters, to make sure you're driving the energy. And then the other side is a lot of electronic music, because of the same tone of really just trying to keep it heavy and hard hitting. And then again, it's like the other stuff is where I have to pick my spots. So like, I still like to try to get in a little bit of hip hop. I still like to try to get in a little bit of pop, which we'll do during timeouts and stuff. The timeouts are usually a little bit more fun and geared towards like fan interaction and engagement.
A little Taylor Swift.
Yeah, like, and we do like karaoke cam and stuff. So like, those are the moments to kind of lighten the mood in the room and play some fun stuff, or even just like some classics. Like, but on the Knicks side, it's obviously it's pretty diverse. But obviously, like during warm-ups is all hip hop. When we get late in the game, like, we had, Victory and stuff like that ready to go. Like you gotta have like some of the hip hop staples. In addition to, we do play a little bit of rock, a little bit of electronic, for those kind of rave up moments at the end of a timeout. And then I definitely try to play, like, if you walk in the building an hour before and listen to my pregame mix, that's when I get to just have fun with it. It's just fair game. Like, I want people vibing. Like, I just want people in their seats just kind of bopping their heads. So I'm like, classic hip hop and R&B. A lot of throwbacks, but that, I'm playing like Stevie Wonder. I'm playing like Shaka Khan. Like, so it's a pretty, I get to really have fun with that one.
That's why the fans got to show up early, man. You get to listen to the soundtrack as it develops.
During the playoffs they do, but
you know what I mean?
Season, sometimes I'm like in my zone. I'm like, damn, nobody's here.
Shit,
we're lucky people.
Imagine how the Heat DJs feel, who DJ Irie. Yeah, there's nobody there until like the second quarter of the game, dog. So who are playing?
Is he? Oh yeah. Y'all got like the late arriving crowd. Is he still rocking for them?
He rocks with us on the big games, and then we have the other DJ. I forget his name. It's DJ Scratch. Excuse me, DJ Scratch. Yeah, he does most of those games. But again, like, you gotta show up. Everybody showing up mid first quarter, and you gotta find the vibe within the game. But that's why I say, man, it's such a hard job, man, to really work a crowd that big, right? You don't think about it. You work a club, there's maybe 1,000 people in there, 2,000 people if it's a huge club, right? But when you're rocking
a big ass club, what clubs you going to?
I'm just saying, like some of the biggest clubs. I'm just saying some of the biggest clubs, Joel. But if you're talking about an arena,
Miami having too much fun.
I don't want to go 1,000 people in the club. I don't want to go to that club.
It's just you and me, Joel, and 4 bottles, baby. It's just
Give me a dive bar.
4 bottles, man. But it's not the same as rocking, an arena with 20,000 people.
Nah, it's big. It's a big difference.
It's a big difference, man. I want to ask you something personal, DJ Monopoly, before we let you go here, man. All right. It's super personal, but I got to know this, man. In your line of profession, okay, which is a very hard job. People may think it's not, but it is a hard job. I have to know which athlete bugs you the most. Is it the hockey players? Is it the football players? Or is it the basketball players about the music you play?
Which ones bother me the most?
Who always hits you up like, yo, are you going to play this? Yo, throw a little, like, who's the quote unquote side DJ that's always throwing those recommendations from the players.
No. It's fortunately it's not the players. It's not the players. I like to think that everybody's pretty happy with what we play. Because, you know, again, like, we do think about it. Like, it's not like we're just being like, you know, whatever, like, you know, forget what the players want. Like, we genuinely try to figure out what they do want to hear and try to implement that. So no, we're very fortunate that like there's none of that. It's keeping the fans happy. It's keeping the fans happy. Like, I'll get some messages sometimes from people being like, yo, you're not playing enough this. Why'd you play that? Like, and I'm just like, you know, everyone's an expert. It's just no matter what profession or industry you're in. So you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
You know, like even just a really quick example, like, you know, it's been really, really dope. The Knicks have been featuring Rumor and I during halftime now. So like we've had guest DJs in the past and you know, kind of Rumor and I are upstairs and we're playing 80% of the music. And a lot of times people don't even know it's us. You know what I mean? Like obviously my friends and my following on social media know, but this playoff run, they've been featuring us every single halftime. So literally every halftime, him and I rock, we do our thing. They'll cut to camera shots of us, they'll cut to the fans, and then we'll just kind of have fun for 7 or 8 minutes during half. And, you know, those sets, like, that's when we're trying to kind of detach a little bit from, like, the tension of the game. Let's just have a little bit of fun. Everybody sit back. So, you know, obviously that's when we'll play a little bit more pop and kind of just, like, the generally accepted fun stuff that everybody knows, whether it be from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or all the way up to current music. So those are the ones where people are just like, well, why wouldn't you play, you know, new hip hop there? Like, I'm just, it's just not, that's not the room. Like, it's not what it is right now. Like,
everybody's an expert, bro. You said it.
Yeah. You know, it's the tension in the room. You want to, especially during the playoffs. Like, I felt the difference. Like, we did those sets during the regular season. And then when I did the first one during the playoffs, I was like, wow, like, the room felt entirely different during that set because they're just not, they weren't as interactive because they're tense. They're like, what's going to happen? Like, oh my God, like only 2 quarters of basketball left. Like, So, you know, you kind of have to adapt to that. And, you know, musically, I'm just like, I really got to like try to make people forget for 7 minutes and just have a good time or even just bop your head in your seat. That's all right. So yeah, it's pleasing the masses. That's the most difficult. You know what I mean? Like every time I run into somebody on my way out of the building and they'll be like, "No, next game can you play XYZ?"
Yeah, I got you, bud.
I will try. Yeah.
Sure thing.
Try.
I got you. I'm gonna write that one down right now, man. Yo, Dan, I really appreciate you joining us. We appreciate it, man, very much. We hope it gets to a Game 7 so that you can rock the stage on Game 7 and we can enjoy Game 7 with you playing in the background, brother. Before we let you go, please let the people know one more time where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so again, it's at Monopoly Music. So it's Monopoly like the game, except with an I, MONOPOLI Music on Instagram and TikTok primarily. And I'll definitely be posting. I'll be trying to post as many, you know, kind of behind the scenes videos and different types of content from the games for sure.
Awesome, man. We'll make sure to enjoy and share with the fans down here, brother. Really appreciate you joining us. And we'll see you soon for football season 2, man.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. That should be, I mean, you know, fingers crossed, that should be an exciting year for Jets fans. So we'll see.
Let's see. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much to everybody else for tuning into the program. That's DJ Monopoly. Go give him a follow. Definitely worth it. For Joel, Dan, and myself, until next time, peace.